Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am aware that I look crazy right now, and the reason for that is because I've been cleaning my apartment and I have been getting ready for tomorrow because I'm hosting a little pre-game, which I'm very excited about. Tomorrow night, me and my friends are going to the club. It's this not annual, it's like monthly. That's what I was supposed to say. It's a monthly queer party, and everyone that you know goes, which can be a good or a bad thing, depending on if everyone's getting along or fighting. By the way, Beyonce has a cowboy hat on as well. You can't even see. This is just the cowboy vibe for her album that just came out. I've actually been going to bed pretty early recently, so this is actually a late time for me. It's probably 1 a.m. I just finished listening to Beyonce's new album, and it is fucking insane. But yeah, I've been going to bed super early because I've been waking up early the last maybe 2 weeks so I can take the girls to the beach at sunrise. They've been loving that. Anyway, so this party tomorrow is again the monthly one, and the theme is like animal print. So I'm gonna wear the trousers that I wore on my birthday. Remember, I don't want to say my birthday suit because that's a completely different meaning. It's like my leopard print shit, and I'm gonna wear the trousers of it, and then I'm gonna wear like a black either bodysuit or tank top or something. Very excited for that. I love seeing my friends. And I also love hosting pre-games. I don't love hosting parties, but I love I've only hosted one party in my life. And it was my 18th, which surprisingly went well. There's only a little bit of drama at the end, but it was fine. And it didn't have anything to do with me, so I could wipe my hands clean of it. But I do love pre-games because everyone, gets there quite early. It's the start of the night, which normally is the most unproblematic / best part of the night. And also everyone's out by a certain time, which is great because when you do a party, if you don't really specify, people can stay all night. And for me, I don't like that. I don't like a lot of people staying in my space. I actually have been going out of my way since I moved to Brighton by the way, how fun is this chair? I've been going on my way since I moved to Brighton to kind of make more of an effort to have people over in my space because I never used to have people come over to my apartment. I think in my last apartment that I had in Brighton, I think over the entire 3 or 4 years that I was there, I only had a maximum, not including my party at the end when I invited a lot of people, probably 15 people max entered that, and that's including family members because I just never invited people over. I didn't like people in my space. I felt uncomfortable in my space. I don't know. I really struggled in that apartment a lot, and I just didn't. It felt so me, in a way that no other apartment I've ever lived in has because it was my first apartment. It was, all my big firsts happened to me in life or whatever while I was in that apartment. So I felt like it was my only safe space. Whereas my Manchester apartment and my new apartment in Brighton, I have been trying to have more people over. Whenever I moved to Manchester, I knew a couple people up there and I invited them around within the first couple days. And my friend was constantly staying around with me because I absolutely love her and she lives very close. So it was great to have her come over. But that was a big thing, like having people sleep over in my apartment, like that are just my friends. Unheard of. Even when, like, wow, we're really jumping here, but to kind of open up a little bit more, I also didn't do hookups whenever I lived in that house, that apartment, sorry, because I didn't even like friends in my apartment, so I'm not bringing a date over or a hookup or anything. I think the only person in all my 3 or 4 years, there was only one guy that came back with me, and we had known each other for quite some time. And all the other ones, I either went to theirs or I just didn't do anything because I just felt really protective over myself for the first couple of years of moving out. And I think because I didn't have my parents here to kind of direct me in the way that maybe I should go or whatever, I kind of took it upon myself to protect myself, which obviously is still something I do to this day, but I'm just a little bit more carefree these days. So yeah, whenever I moved back to Brighton, I've been having my friends over constantly. I've been doing games nights. I've been doing like a lot of sober nights. That sounds so stupid to say, but I mean, hanging out with people when you're drinking and then hanging out when you're sober, to me at least, are two very different things. Like having a pregame and having people come over sober playing games is two very different things. I don't know if you agree or disagree with me, but anyway, so I started having like my friends over just during the daytime, which was great. And I really, really, really loved, and I'm loving kind of opening myself up a little bit more to my friends, because I would always be the ones going over to their houses. I would never allow them to come to my house. And I feel like within the last couple of weeks, I have really turned into like the planner. Like I have been the organizer of a lot of events, and I have been the location, if you will. Like I've done a couple pre-games here. I've done a couple dinners here. I've had friends over. Literally, we will just drink like a coffee, and then we'll be like, bye, like just come over for like a chat. My friend has been coming over in the mornings, and we've been having tea. Like I've just been having a lot of people in and out of my doors, which I never once did. And it feels great to kind of be very social again, because I went through a rut recently where I kind of cut myself off very socially and would only go out like once or twice a week, and they would always involve drinking, which again, my only time really leaving the house was either walking the dogs during the daytime, like really, really, really early in the morning, or going out and getting drunk. So yeah, Manchester was a little bit different. I definitely was in a depressive state whenever I lived there, because I think back on it now and I'm like, wow, I really was not leaving my apartment. I really just was not doing daytime activities. The only things I were doing was whenever I was drinking. Like I look back on that time period, where I'm at now, and I'm like, oh my God, I've never woken up this early in my life before. I've never gone to bed this late. Like I'm tired right now, and it's fucking like what, like 1 a.m. or something. Like this is pathetic. I've just been having a really good life balance recently, and I think like it's very reflective in my relationships with my friends as well. I don't think I've ever been closer to like each individual friend that I have out here. My relationships with people feel a lot different ever since moving away, because I feel like I cherish people a lot more. Maybe I was less or more flippant in the past and didn't really think that deep about connections, and now I cherish each and every individual person for very different reasons. And again, it's really interesting because you have friends that you really enjoy going to dinners with, and then you have friends that, you know, maybe you wouldn't enjoy necessarily going to dinners with them, but you enjoy sitting in the park with them. Or it's just been interesting developing different dynamics with people that I already had dynamics for and with, but they're just a little bit more developed now, and we're a lot older. All of us are like 4 years older than when we first met, which is crazy. So yeah, it's been really interesting. Where else am I at in my life? The move is... It's been stressful. It has been stressful. I also haven't done a lot. Like I need to go back to Manchester, and I haven't gone back to Manchester, and I really need to go back there because I need to continue cleaning and doing all this. Because I really just moved in a rush. So I need to go back up, but just the thought of going to Manchester is so crippling. Not only can I not be bothered to go on like a 5-hour train, but I know once I step off, I can see it in my mind. I know I've never been so miserable in a city. Like it's so dramatic, but like what the fuck? Like I've never been so just not myself when I've like been in Manchester. Like I never want to go back to Manchester ever again in my life. I know exactly, because it happened the last couple times I've been there. I get off at the train station, and I go to the taxi pickup. They drive me to my apartment, and I'm looking out and I'm like, I fucking hate this city so much. And again, I'm sure I would have loved it if I gave it more effort or forced myself, but I just wanted to get so badly out of that situation. Anyway, I'm very happy to be back in Brighton. Things are actually going really well in life when it comes to kind of like mental stuff, which has been great. I also feel like I've never been closer with my dogs in my entire life. It's very weird. They went back home in December. They were supposed to go just for me to go to Japan, which was going to be a month. And then whenever I was in Japan, I realized that I didn't want to take the dogs and I back to Manchester. So then the dogs stayed in Ireland while we tried to finalize the move, so that they didn't go on the boat to Manchester and then stay there for a couple days and then come back to Brighton, because we didn't know if I was going to move in a week, or we didn't know if I was going to move in 2 months. So it was, a really hectic time, and I didn't see them much within that time period. I saw them maybe once a month, which obviously when you're used to dealing with them every single day, not seeing them, I was genuinely worried that it would have changed my dynamic with them. Obviously dogs remember and stuff, but they got so used to being looked after by my parents, and they got so used to being around my parents' animals, that I was like, holy shit, like what if they like resent me? I can honestly say that like my relationship with the girls has never been so healthy and so just great and uplifting every day. Like I literally feel like I have puppies again because I hadn't taken care of them in so long. Everything is feeling new again, even though I've had them for 3 years. Everything's feeling new again. Everything's feeling very exciting. I'm developing a new routine with them. We're, in a city that we all know. There's the beach. Like we've been going out every day. Like it's such a difference than Manchester that I feel like there's this vibe between me and the girls where we're just genuinely way more close than what we've ever been in my entire life. And I don't know if dogs are picking up on it or whatever, but I think that they can sense that like I'm doing well and like dad's not crying in the living room for like the 10th day in a row, like drinking a bottle of wine to himself in Manchester, like depressed out of my fucking wits. Like, no, it's not like that. And also, I was thinking about this when I was in Manchester and I was kind of like dating around. Like I've told this story many times. And then I was, in the situationship kind of thing. I always talk about it because it's a very pivotal moment in my life, even though it wasn't that deep. And then that, fell through and I had no friends up in Manchester to kind of console me. And I am the most emotional person you will ever meet in your entire life. And I am the most unrational. I don't even know if I'm using that correctly. I am, when it comes to my feelings, specifically romantically, oh my God, I am a nightmare. It is my biggest flaw. My biggest flaw is that I cannot hide my emotions. My biggest flaw is that I get really insecure when it comes to dating and love, that I will like act in a way that almost like pushes someone away completely as a way of protecting myself. And anyway, when I did that in Manchester, I had no friends. So I was going fucking crazy because, oh my God, I go crazy whenever I like, have feelings or anything like that. Like, oh my God, I haven't met anyone in my life that has kind of reciprocated that. So obviously I haven't met, the one. But when I was going through that in Manchester and I was on my own, I was fucking miserable. I was absolutely miserable. It was all consuming. I just was an awful person to be around. And then when I came down to Brighton, something not on the same level, but, had a crush on an old friend and things didn't work out, but it was okay. And it was probably, to me, that, kind of thing of knowing someone for a while or whatever versus, the Manchester thing that happened. Like I would think that out of the two, the one that would upset me most, considering how fucking deep my feelings get whenever I get like so in it, even if it's not that deep, and then I, start whatever. I was like, oh my God, I'm, doing fine in Brighton. Like I got a rejection like I got in Manchester. However, it's not all consuming because I actually have friends down here. So like I have people to talk to and I don't bottle stuff in, and I, I'm able to do things that are, just different and distracting, and it's not something that I'm, so consumed with. So that's been nice, and it has just kind of affirmed again to me that Manchester was just not the place for me, and that all the things that I went through up there probably weren't as deep as what they were. I was just on my own dealing with them. So anyway, there's that. I wish I had the last girl talk we did. I was talking about the fact that I was dating around and that I was kind of enjoying throwing myself into all that. No. Oh my God, I can't do it. I cannot do it. I'm sorry to disappoint soldiers, but I have no updates when it comes to anything like that. I also I think because I cannot stress to you enough, just like I get so emotionally involved in things so quick, and I don't mean it in the way that people perceive it, but I can understand how it's perceived. It's happened to, someone that I really looked at as a good friend and kind of ruined that. So I was like, okay, I need to like not talk to people for a while in a romantic way or in a non-romantic way, because clearly I need to wait until like someone can match my energy, because you can very easily be perceived as crazy or way too emotional or, really kind of like reactive in a way, which are all things I am, by the way. But when I don't necessarily mean it in the way that I know that it's being perceived, it's just like my deep rooted like anxiety when it comes to like, I feel like I have like kind of like an attachment style to like friends and stuff. So I think when I feel threatened by that, I think I act in a way that is incredibly destructive towards myself. So anyway, I kind of realized that no one in my life that I've met has kind of matched that. And basically with everything I go into, for better or for worse, I end up getting hurt. Because again, I haven't found someone to match that energy for me. So, I do not have an update when it comes to that with you. I promised you I was going to give you an update. The update is, the there is no update. Update in terms of friends. Or I told you I was going to do update on that, update on the move, which we've done, and then update on friends. I've kind of already given an update on friends. However, I'm meeting a lot of new people. I'm hanging out with different friends that I didn't hang out with, on that deep of a level when I used to live in Brighton. And they've been introducing me to their friends, and I've been going to like restaurants I've never gone to in my entire life. I've been going to bars I haven't gone to in my entire life. I've been going to parks with Dolly and Bonnie that I've never gone to before, because you're just developing these different relationships with so many different people, and I think relationships are so fascinating. And yeah. Also, this is going to be such an insane jump, so bear with me. But I've been thinking about this a lot. I've been seeing a lot of posts on social media of people talking about family members passing away, more specifically with like grandparents. And I thought about it, and I was like, holy fuck, my grandparents are old. Like, my dad's mom and dad and my mom's mom and dad, they're old. And I had a moment last night where I like went crazy, because I was like, all my grandparents are kind of over their life expectancy right now. And I think I was under this delusion that my grandparents were going to live forever. And I also have this delusion with my family as well. I don't necessarily have it with friends, which sounds really weird to say, but I think losing my friend Alexandra when she died to cancer when she was like 17 or 18, I think that was kind of a wake-up call to me that like, oh, I can lose friends, or friends can lose me kind of way. And I think that was my first experience of something like that. Like, that was the first experience of like a big loss in my life. Like, I mean, my dad's granny, who was a big part of our family, died whenever I was quite young. And I remember that was a really emotional time for my family, but it wasn't necessarily an emotional time for me because I wasn't aware of the concept, nor did I really remember any memories with her. Like, I was just very young. I like, my brothers talk about her a lot, but like, I just, I don't remember anything with her other than there was a time when I went over to her house and she gave me like a bag of Maltesers and a £5 note. And I don't even know if I remember it, or I saw a photo of me holding a £5 note and holding a bag of Maltesers a couple years ago with her. And I was like, oh, maybe I remember that. So I think I'm literally just like basing it off of an image. But anyway, so for me, I've never had a big loss to me. I'm actually going to knock on wood. Obviously, life is inevitable, but I just still feel the need to knock on wood. So I haven't had like a huge, oh my God, my friend came over and this motherfucker broke this fucking bitch. He broke it. Anyway, I'm so pissed off at him. I haven't had that big of a loss in my family yet. And I cannot stress enough to you how emotional of a person I am, that I just don't know what I'll do. Oh my God, I could cry thinking about it, but I won't, because I want to like actually talk about like my points with this. Again, life is unpredictable, but we're all aware of like how normally it goes with who in your family, goes first. Obviously, life is unpredictable, but I'm saying in terms of age, normally you look to like grandparents. And I realized that like, I just can't fathom the fact that, like, there's going to be a day when I'm going through huge life events that I'm not going to be able to tell my granda, or I'm not going to be able, like, my nana won't get to experience, or, my dad's side of the family won't know. Like, there's something so crazy to me that, like, and this all stemmed from the fact that my granda has been texting me over and over again the last couple of weeks. How's YouTube doing? How's YouTube doing? Because he stresses about the fact that this is something I do for a job, because he doesn't necessarily understand it, which I get. And I remember being like, oh my God, like, how many times am I going to have to tell him, like, everything's going good? And then I was like, there's going to be a day where my granda doesn't ask me that anymore. Or like that's so crazy to me. And I don't know how I will react when it comes to a loss in the family. Like, I think I talk about, the reason I wanted to bring this up was because me and my friend last night talked about this at length. And we were then talking about, like, losing your parents. And I genuinely, like, this sounds maybe, like, very extreme, but I don't see a world in which I exist without both of my parents existing. Like, obviously that's not the case, but I like can't perceive the idea of living without my parents living. The same way, like, they would say that they couldn't imagine living without me living, like that kind of thing, right? Like, I genuinely think at that stage I wouldn't want to live anymore. Like, I'm not saying this as, like, anything that deep, like, but I'm just saying, like, I just wouldn't. I'm so close with my parents that I feel like I wouldn't want to experience anything more, or I wouldn't want to, like, do anything more, because what's the point? Like, my parents aren't here to see it, or I'm not able to talk to them about it. Like, I don't mean to say that's a worrying statement, but I just wonder if anyone else feels the same, like, with anyone in your life. Like, I just wouldn't imagine a world in which I would want to continue doing things or continue achieving things or whatever. Like, it's not something I would see myself wanting to do. Same goes for my brothers as well. Like, I don't talk to my brothers that much. But I couldn't imagine a world in which it wasn't, like, the three of us. Or, like, they would say it about if it was the two of them and I was gone. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. And one of my good friends out here, Emily, who I adore, is a coroner. She works every day with people that have passed away. She will come over to mine for dinner, and she will get a phone call that, she needs to go pick up a body. And she just goes, gets dressed, and picks up. And it's like this. And it's like, life is so unpredictable. And I think I used to fear the concept a lot of dying, and don't get me wrong, I still do. However, I think the older I get, the more I realize that we are living in a world that my generation have completely grew up on eating microplastic. Like, people my age, like, we've lived our entire life with eating plastic from microwavable meals or any like that. Like, there's so much plastic in our foods, and there always has been, I guess. Well, I don't even know if that's true, but specifically with, like, my generation. So, don't know what that does to your body. There's just so many. Diet is not great for a lot of people. Water that a lot of people get, drinking, soda, that's not good for you. Smoking, vaping, all these different things. And it's just kind of like, I remember I thought so deeply about everything. And I was so deep in veganism as well that I was doing this because I was like, oh, you've got to prioritize that. And I just remember thinking, like, I could walk down the street and be hit by a fucking car, or, like, I could fall off a lime scooter and that's how I die. Like, obviously, look out for yourself and all like this, but life is so fucking unpredictable that, like, I just think at a certain stage, I can't live, thinking this is going to do it, or this is going to do it, or this is going to do it, or whatever like that. I could fall off my chair and die. Like, I think hearing through my friend who works as a coroner, picking up bodies and, doing all this, we're talking about ways, that people have been found, and it's just like, life is unpredictable. So I don't know. I think I just have an approach now where I feel like the older I get, even though I'm only 21, I think I just have an attitude of, like, We didn't ask to be here. We didn't ask to be born. We didn't ask to stay around. You know, we work, we, play, we whatever. Like, you just live. Like, there's not really much that you can say, that you're in necessarily control of in the grand scheme of things. So just like live, like whatever. So I think my attitude's changed on that a little bit. Anyways, what an interesting little tangent I just went on. Anyway, that's my vibe for tonight. I'm getting really tired, so I need to go to bed soon. But I'm gonna love and leave you. Thanks for hanging out. Whoa, thanks for hanging out. Clearly, I'm tired. Bye.